I fear no man, but that thing, it scares me.
Can Arkham Batman survive the absolute Batman universe? So, Arkham Batman is typically defined as one of the most powerful versions of Batman, seeing as how he clears out these games in one night each and takes on a wide array of his villains, military armies, the list just goes on and on and on. But, how would he fare in the absolute comic universe? Let's find out. Please subscribe. I'm trying to get 150,000 subscribers before the end of the year, so please do that if you want. Make sure to leave a like as well, and let's move on. Okay, so to begin, I'm going to explain what the absolute Batman universe is for people that haven't read it. At the time of this video, it's a very new comic series. Absolute Batman started last year in October 9th, 2024, and currently has about 13 issues, I want to say. This video will spoil the comics, obviously, so if you care about the Absolute Batman comics, spoiler warning right now, you are warned, okay? Okay, so basically, the premise of the Absolute Universe is that Batman here is actually a working class man, and in this world, he's stripped of his usual resources. He's not super rich here, he's a normal working guy. And in this world, his father was killed in a shooting during a field trip he went on with his son, Bruce. Bruce then used his engineering talent to become the Batman, and in this world, Batman is a 6'9", gigantic beast. Violent as hell, has a potty mouth, his weapons are straight up just like blades and a giant axe. He is formidable here. Still doesn't kill though, if you're curious. Now with that said, the villains in the Absolute Universe are straight up nightmare fuel. Straight up terrorizing versions of the ones you typically see. For example, this is Bane. Bane here might be the most threatening he's ever been, and I'm not exaggerating when I say that, and we'll get to that when we get to him. But I recommend reading the series if you want to know more. It's really good and new, so you're not missing out on much right now, and you don't need any prior knowledge, so I recommend giving it a read. But how this video will work is that I will talk about the villains in the Absolute Universe, and put Arkham Batman against them, and explain if Arkham Batman can win or not. I'll use examples from the games and the comics to back up my points, and yes, let's go ahead and start with the first villain here. Okay, so the first villain is more like a villains or enemies kind of thing, the party animals. Basically, the party animals are a bunch of thrill-seeking nihilists led by Black Mask that cause horrific crimes all throughout Gotham City. They kill anybody, including children, which is crazy. Basically though, they're fodder for Absolute Batman. They're basically a bunch of people with guns that are kind of introduced to be Batman's punching bags. Can Arkham Batman beat the party animals? And I think without a doubt, yes they can. Anybody with their head on straight would say yes, right? The party animals are pretty organized to an extent. They target officials and events with the intent to kill, so there are a lot of them in numbers, and all of them usually armed with guns. Arkham Batman, though, as we know, has dealt with armed people all throughout the games. Arkham City's reveal trailer showed him taking on a big squad of Titan guards and taking them down, real easily at that. Arkham Knight, there's a whole militia army Batman's pitted up against, which includes armed people all the time. And on top of all that, Arkham Batman's gadgets like the Disruptor could easily stop weaponry, and it's basically just people with guns versus the goddamn Batman. Batman no diffs the party animals without question. I don't need to put any more examples here. If you know Arkham Batman, you know these guys stand no chance. Arkham Batman stomps. Next question. Black Mask. Black Mask here is connected to the party animals as he leads them, but I put him separate because he is separate from them in that he is his own villain. Black Mask in this universe was an amazing tactician, ruthless, and could actually fight pretty well. Black Mask typically is kind of a joke in some Batman universes, but here he actually did give Absolute Batman trouble, particularly in one of the early issues. Batman gets into a fight with Black Mask on a rooftop, and Black Mask, with the party animals, is able to pin down Absolute Batman with nets, and then have him at his mercy, stabbing him and toying with him basically. They burn him with a flamethrower, which Batman barely manages to escape and survive. This was the only real-time Black Mask here was a threat to Absolute Batman. The next time they met, Batman did this to him, which is really funny. So, could Arkham Batman take on Absolute Black Mask? And I would say yes. However, there's a reason I brought up this example where Absolute Batman got caught in the trap. Arkham Batman, while really powerful, has gotten caught with his guard down multiple times in the Arkham games. For example, in Arkham City, Joker was able to jump on Batman here and gas him. In Harley Quinn's Revenge, Harley was able to walk up here and shoot Batman, getting the drop on him. The Arkham Knight had Arkham Batman dead to rights here. So, with Absolute Black Mask, it could be very possible he sets up a trap for Arkham Batman to try and kill him, but most likely, Arkham Batman breaks out of said trap and escapes. In a straight up brawl between these two, Arkham Batman would win, easily in my opinion. With that being said though, Black Mask is pretty good at martial arts. In his final fight against Absolute Batman, he nearly strangled him to death. Then Absolute Batman just turns him into Daredevil. Overall, I think Arkham Batman beats Absolute Black Mask low diff. Black Mask could give him some trouble in a combat scenario, but not really in the grand scheme of things. And I would say Arkham Batman easily beats Absolute Black Mask. Moving on though. So these three, Clayface, Poison Ivy, and Man-Bat, are all semi-introduced in issue 10 of the Absolute Comics. They're all very briefly shown in this issue, but I still wanted to discuss them as even though we barely see their debuts, there are abilities there that are worth asking if Arkham Batman can take them out or not. To start with Clayface, basically the premise in this issue is that Bruce is trapped inside Arkham by Bane. Bruce keeps finding ways to escape until he gets captured again, and each time he escapes, he runs into one of these villains' biomes. Bruce encounters what appears to be Clayface in the Clay biome, and here, all we really see is that Bruce steps on Clayface, or presumably it's Clayface, in which he then spawns a ton of hands latching onto Bruce Wayne. And that's all we really see. I just want to say that while we don't really see the Clayface here in his full prime just yet, Arkham Batman has fought his own version of Clayface, in which he was prepared for with the weakness of ice. Knowing the Absolute Universe and how they turned their villains to nightmare fuel, this Clayface could be way worse than the Arkham one for sure, but based off what we know just right now, I would say Arkham Batman can beat this guy pretty easily. Not going to say what difficulty though, because there's just not enough information. Next up is Poison Ivy. Now, this isn't Poison Ivy exactly. Bruce in this issue runs into the Isley biome, which turns out to be this basically haunted forest, where the trees are alive with their own faces that latch onto Bruce. And in the background here, you can see a bunch of plant monster people that come after Bruce. We see that one of the plant monsters has the ability to extend its tongue out and basically do this hellish attack here, and this is interesting. Arkham Batman hasn't fought anything like this, really, right? Batman has fought and beaten his version of Poison Ivy before, yes, but his Ivy has never done anything like this where there's living trees that can grab onto you with these plant zombie monsters coming after you. However, Batman has fought Ivy when she tried to kill him in a giant flower thing. But that's really just one direct thing Batman has to fight, you know what I mean? This one's a little tricky. Usually, Arkham Batman fights villains one-on-one directly with their regular thugs thrown in the mix, but those are kind of regular things in the grand scheme of the Batman universe, right? Arkham Batman has never fought anything this horrific or outlandish, I guess you could say. I want to say Arkham Batman wins despite all of that, but if Absolute Poison Ivy gets to drop on Arkham Batman with these things at her side, I wouldn't say it's impossible for her to not win. Poison Ivy is one of the Batman's most powerful villains in terms of raw power and ability. Based off this little information, I could see her beating Arkham Batman truthfully, but like I said, there's not enough information just yet to fully tell. And finally for this section, there's Man-Bat, or more accurately, Man-Bat and his army of mutated nightmare animals? Absolute Batman walks into the Langstrom experiment here in which he finds someone that resembles Man-Bat with his army of grotesque, mutated, half-human, half-animal people, I guess you could say. Straight up horror, right? We don't really see anything at all in what these guys could do, but I think Arkham Batman would realistically low diff these guys. Just based on their physical appearance, they all look like they're already about to crumble over anyway, especially this guy. It's gross. Arkham Batman has been shown to fight actual behemoths like Origin Bane, Killer Croc, Clayface, and his own Man-Bat, and even though Arkham Man-Bat did not fight back, Arkham Batman was still able to physically restrain him for a bit, which I think matters. I think Arkham Batman low diffs the absolute version of Man-Bat here currently, with his animal army or whatever. But yes, that's it for those three. Let's move on to the next. Riddler. Now, Riddler in the Absolute Universe is not a villain. Not yet, anyway. In this universe, him and Bruce were actually childhood friends alongside some other famous Batman villains. Edward here is a genius, not just some riddle guy. In this world, he built an AI robot he named the Riddler that helps Bruce with his Batman activities. He's also done things like reverse engineer a party animal mask for Batman to use to his benefit, and things of that nature for Absolute Batman. Riddler is like the big tech guy here. Anyways, in one of the recent issues, Bane gets to Edward, and Bane beats his skull in, which forced Eddie to rebuild himself with the Riddler robot's brain. And that's the last we see of it at this point. Unless you're from the future and see how Riddler is way after this video was dropped, in which case, hello. I wanted to add him in here briefly because we do see his intellect and how dangerous he could potentially be. He can build and reverse engineer high-tech equipment that not even absolute Batman can, and he uses his Riddler robot to track people down, to say the least. Now, could Arkham Batman stop this guy if he became full-on villain mode? And I would say yes. Arkham Batman could beat this guy, but I think this version of Riddler is way more cunning than Arkham Riddler. It may take Arkham Batman a bit more brain power to take him down, but I think ultimately he would win. I wanted to add him in here though in case someone else has a more educated opinion on it, but you let me know. Absolute Mr. Freeze. Oh my god. Mr. Freeze. Typically one of Batman's most depressing and redeemable villains in a way. In the Absolute universe, though, he's not. This guy is horrifying, straight out of hell. This is not the Victor Freeze we know, but it's actually his son, Victor Freeze Jr. And in this version, his parents, which is Victor Freeze and Nora Freeze, put him in a cryogenic state to survive an illness he had, and the entire time, Victor Jr. reveals he was conscious and he was experiencing the worst unimaginable pain. It affected his psyche and made him go insane. The Freeze family then discovered an ancient ice mutagenic bacterium that gave this Victor Jr. his ice powers and transformation. These two things turned him into the universe's Mr. Freeze, this monstrous pale creature who was revealed to keep his parents in a cryogenic state, as well as a bunch of other people he abducted in those cryogenic states as well. He even managed to get Bruce Wayne in one until Bruce managed to break out and fight him. His powers consist of being able to freeze anything he touches, heat absorption which allows him to lower the temperature in his vicinity, enhance durability, and being a menace and insane. It begs the question, could Arkham Batman take on this version of Mr. Freeze? This could be a new one. To compare to the Arkham universe's Mr. Freeze, that version didn't really have any supernatural powers like Absolute's does. The Arkham Mr. Freeze had a suit he needed to survive and a big ice gun. A little bit more manageable, I would say, compared to this walking nightmare. Arkham Batman has convincingly beat his version of Mr. Freeze before multiple times, but with the Absolute version, Batman has to worry about freezing anytime he touches him, the cold walking zombie army that Absolute Mr. Freeze has, as well as all his other enhanced abilities. Just to say this, I think yes, Arkham Batman can beat Absolute Freeze, but I think it would be a lot more difficult. It wouldn't be a cakewalk. Let's break down the abilities. Absolute Mr. Freeze can freeze anything he touches and also make his environment go to sub-zero temperatures. Arkham Batman has a suit designed to counter this. We see it in Arkham Origins, the XC suit in the DLC. If Batman really needed to counter Absolute Mr. Freeze, this suit would be the perfect answer as it basically nullifies all of Freeze's abilities. For the ice minions that he has, they honestly just seem like really easy to take down. They're skinny and cold and probably don't possess any real combat threat. And with those two things covered, Arkham Batman would just need to account for Absolute Freeze's durability and agility, which I think Arkham Batman could handle. He's handled it before with people like Copperhead, Ra's al Ghul, Deathstroke, the list goes on. I don't think Absolute Mr. Freeze has a trick that Arkham Batman has not seen, so yes, I do think that Arkham Batman could beat this guy. But I see it as not being as easy. Even Arkham Mr. Freeze seemingly gave Batman trouble back in Arkham City, and I think Absolute Freeze is more powerful, so yes, I think Arkham Batman beats Absolute Mr. Freeze, but with a mid difficulty I would say. There is some trouble, but ultimately, he would win. Next. Killer Croc. Killer Croc is also, spoilers, a walking behemoth in the Absolute universe. Terrifying, terrifying. Now, Waylon Jones in this universe, similar to Riddler, was another childhood friend of Bruce Wayne's. He was transformed into Killer Croc by the people at Arkham. He turns into this giant, scary version of Croc. He was always scary looking, but look at this dude's jaw and teeth and how huge he is. There has been moments in the Absolute universe where he was easily able to kill Batman if he wanted to, but we never see the two fight as of yet. We do see him kill some scientists and move like how Croc does. According to the wiki, he has claws, obviously, enhanced agility and strength, fangs, and also martial arts, since this Croc is a former AFC champion, which is insane. Now, with this being said, could Arkham Batman beat this version of Killer Croc? So, Arkham Batman's version of Croc is way less threatening than this guy. The Arkham Croc, we see Arkham Batman beat him once in Arkham Origins, where his mutation is a little less severe. We also see Arkham Batman technically win in Arkham Asylum, although it's more of a Batman avoiding him kind of situation. And in Arkham Knight, we see Batman beat him with the help of Nightwing. We never see Arkham Batman 1v1 Croc in his true prime, and most powerful, which is in Arkham Knight. There's always a factor like Nightwing here, or the traps in Arkham Asylum. Arkham Batman, as strong as he is, I wouldn't say he's ever faced an opponent physically as strong as Croc. I would say this Croc here is stronger than Arkham Croc. He's even more powerful than Arkham Origins TN1 Bane or Clayface from Arkham City. It is true we never see absolute Croc's full power and feats as of now, but I do think it's very possible this version can win against Arkham Batman. In defense of Arkham Batman though, his agility is top notch. Arkham Batman's reactions are really quick as we've seen, so absolute Croc getting a quick insta-kill chomp kind of attack on him is unlikely. Not impossible though. As far as strength goes, Arkham Batman is shown to have punches that could damage his version of Croc, but I think it will take more than that to hurt absolute Killer Croc, I would say. Thankfully, Arkham Batman has things like the shock gloves, his Batmobile, really strong firepower at his disposal to do damage. With all that being said, I'd say a huge factor in a fight between these two would be the setting. If it's in a small, confined space, I would say Croc has a huge advantage. If it's somewhere like outside, I think Arkham Batman has the advantage. He can call in his vehicles, escape on the rooftops, etc, etc. If it's in the sewers, I don't know, bro. I think Croc for sure has it. There's a lot of factors with the setting. I think stealth is also a huge factor too. Batman concealing himself and getting the drop on Croc to get behind him or something is a very big possibility, as he does the same thing to some of his villains like TN1 Bane, for example, arguably his most powerful enemy we've seen in the Arkhamverse. With all that being said, it's hard to tell. I would say that yes, Arkham Batman could win, but it's definitely not a for sure win. If I had to put it out of 100%, I would say Arkham Batman wins 60-40 in his favor. I think with Arkham Batman's knowledge, experience, firepower, resources, it's definitely more in his favor, I would say, to take on this version of Croc, but it's a much harder fight than Arkham Croc. An absolute Killer Croc with his size, his martial arts experience, which is a huge factor in overall abilities. I think if he gets one good hit on Arkham Batman, he probably wins, so he definitely has a strong chance. I think if absolute Killer Croc didn't have any martial arts knowledge, Arkham Batman would have a way higher shot of winning, but that's a huge factor here that I think is a little bit more of an edge. But moving on to the final one. The last real villain here, and by far the most interesting and overpowered, Bane. Absolute Bane. I know I've said this for like most of the villains here, but I mean it when I say I think that Absolute Bane might just be, easily at that, the most intimidating, ruthless, intelligent, powerful version of Bane. To put it in perspective, Absolute Batman is 6'9" and weighs 420 pounds or something. It's confirmed. The Absolute Batman is a unit. Now look at this image of Bane. Look at it closely. I'll give it a second. Look at how monstrously huge this guy is. This Bane was at the Arkham facility, basically hell in the Absolute Universe, and when Batman sneaks in, he meets Bane here for the first time, and their fight was, without a doubt, easily won by Bane. This dude tortures him and toys with him. This Bane has mastered and probably knows more martial arts than Batman. None of Batman's attacks in the fight work here. Bane is absolutely humongous, easily destroys Batman, and the scariest part of Bane in the Absolute Universe, which gives him the edge over other versions, is the Venom. Venom is typically the thing that just makes him stronger. Here, it not only makes him stronger, but makes him smarter. It enhances his body and mind far beyond normal human capabilities. This Bane easily beats Batman, tortures him, keeps him as his guinea pig for like over a month in the comics here, and implants Bruce with a venom system in his brain and spinal cord. Absolutely terrorizing version of the character. Now, could Arkham Batman beat this version of Bane? Let's compare it to Arkham Bane. The Arkham Bane in the Rocksteady trilogy is a joke, right? Venom or no Venom, he's a bumbling buffoon. In Arkham Origins, that Bane was the actual threat. Strong as hell, smart as all else, strategic and cunning. He was a huge threat to Arkham Batman. However, compare this Bane to this Bane. The Arkham Origins Bane nearly beats Arkham Batman, although he never truly had a chance to kill Batman, I would say. He was able to do some serious damage to him, but ultimately never kill him, and Arkham Origins Bane arguably is the most physically powerful villain Arkham Batman has ever fought, because of the TN1 version we see at the end of the game. Now, with Arkham Batman, I wanted to point out one feat I would give to him, which is how durable he truly is. TN1 Bane punches Batman here multiple times and punches him straight through a concrete wall, mind you, and Arkham Batman legit just gets up and shrugs it off and beats him. What? So Arkham Batman can take some serious damage. That being said, I think Absolute Bane with Venom is way more powerful than TN1 Bane. And I also think Absolute Bane is more intelligent than Arkham Origins Bane by a large margin. Any martial arts Arkham Batman knows, Absolute Bane would most likely know as well. As said by Absolute Alfred in the comics about Bane, there's no plan of attack he hasn't studied, no strategy he doesn't know. Bane is an absolute tactical genius as well. I would say the one difference Arkham Batman has over Absolute Batman that could make a difference are the gadgets. Absolute Batman has more blunt gadgets, I would say, like an axe and sharp objects and stuff, while Arkham Batman has way more advanced technology. This could possibly make a difference in this fight, but really, if Absolute Bane knew he was coming to fight Arkham Batman, honestly, I see Arkham Batman losing. Arkham Batman, as powerful as he is, has had a plethora of times where he was at his villain's mercy. Hugo Strange could have killed him right here. Joker could have killed him right here. Arkham Knight could have killed him right here. Even Copperhead might have had a chance, I don't know. These are all villains that Absolute Bane would stomp without question. The way Arkham Batman beats his version of Bane is by taking out his venom tubes, crippling him essentially. Absolute Bane, the venom is just merely a bonus. His raw self is just way too powerful here. Does Arkham Batman stand zero chance? I wouldn't say zero, but I think Absolute Batman would beat Arkham Batman. It's just way more likely that way in my opinion. I think it's way more likely that Absolute Bane beats Arkham Batman low difficulty. The fact that this Bane's venom enhances his strength and intelligence, the fact that he knows just about every martial arts, the fact that he's a tactical mastermind, the fact that he's just an insane genius, the fact that he's just this big, he's, in my opinion, the most terrifying version of the character. And I really think he could beat Arkham Batman. Dude is a straight badass, honestly. He's actually pretty badass. But as of now, those are all the villains in the current run of Absolute Batman that are viable for the video. There is some information about Absolute Joker. In fact, this is an official picture of him. Just insane, but not enough info about him yet for me to fully make a section for him. But you can take a guess and tell me if Arkham Batman would beat this version or not. But other than that, let me know what you think of my analysis, if I was wrong or right. Let me know, but as always, leave a sub, comment, like, all that, man. I really appreciate it. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay safe, and peace, man.